ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifest in a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under-detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what do you see? Unlocking knowledge for you and me. The nest is rising strong and true, sharing wisdom, me and you. Clap, clap, clap for the truth we seek. Every answer, week by week. Try this again. I'm gonna go live. See if I can do an overview. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this freaking amazing nest. Welcome, y'all, little nesters. I'll tell you, today has been a just a little bit of a rough patch, but surely testing me today, but we're all good. You know, one thing I've always said is technology is not perfect. I think most of you would agree. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and welcome in. I am going to do an overview. How about that today? You guys want an overview of 300 plus documents, some more than 2 pages, some not. I think let's get into it. Let's get into it because I'll tell you what. Lots of people are reporting on these reports and they're cherry picking and they're freaking flat out lying to you. You're not going to get any of that. I feel integrity is number one. And if you are any part of this nest, you are searching just like myself for answers. And that's what we're going to give you. I'm going to give you the hardcore truth. And some people may not like it. Some people will like it. And this channel may not be for you if you're one of the haters that do not believe in our justice system, that you should have a fair trial. And from reading all these documents, I'm going to give you a freaking assessment of what happened in the Idaho, what I'm calling now 5 case. Because there are victims and then there are victims. And I want every single person out there on the internet to understand that just because someone pleads guilty to a charge, they are actually and factually innocent. That's what our justice system does to you. They rope you in, put you in cuffs, and you may not get out. And you may have to fight for your life. And sadly, that's what it looks like has happened here. And now we know why. We, the nest, is uncovering the cover up. I'll tell you, sometimes cops just have tunnel vision, and that is the worst thing to ever have in a murder case. In any case, factually, for that matter. And it is terrible, terrible, terrible to look at this case and see what they've done to this individual trying to solve a fucking murder. Just like maybe you and I are. Where did Koberger go wrong in all this? Let me tell you. There's no confession, no proof he was in the area, no proof he was in that house, factually innocent, no murder weapon, no wounds to his hands or face that resemble any knife incident. Did not know these individuals. Prosecution promised and said that. Prosecution said he wasn't even stalking anyone. So what the hell did we just witness? Some of you are all in shock, and Phoenix is on fire tonight. I'm going to lay some fireballs like you will not believe. And I sure appreciate, I'm going to have a shout out for Les. I'm not going to tell you how much she donated, but she donated so I can continue streaming this live on this channel via StreamYard. And thank God, Lord bless you, Les, you know. Thank God there are people out there that are so generous that they want and they hunger and they thirst for the truth. Because there are people out there that are still good people, like me and Bertie, like me and Sammy T, like me and Devil's Advocate. All of us that get out there, put our face forward, wake up every morning fighting for our rights. Whether it be on the street, talking to those in powerful positions in our own states, in our own cities, in our own towns, we put ourselves out there to make sure we hold people accountable. Because not only do we hold ourselves accountable at a high standard, there are other people that care more about your constitutional rights. And I'm going to tell you the answers you may or may not want to hear, but I'm going to give it to you straight. Now, hopefully you've seen some of my short videos. For those on the TikTok streets, it's getting wild over there. The haters are out in full force. But that's okay. I've got pretty thick skin. I have a mind that's strong, and I know who I am and where I'm grounded. Come after me. Come after my family. But if you come after my friends, I'm going to find out who you are, and you will be held accountable. Now, all that put to the side, I'm glad you guys are here. Amanda B, I see you in the nest. Let me get rid of some of these banners. As always, you can surely throw in a super chat to help support this channel if you feel you need to. And let's take off this banner for you guys. All right, I do have my Cash App up there if you want to donate. And let's get into it. Let's dig. So let's see who we got in the house. Patty, love you, girl. You are an OG. Peggy, welcome in. Beautiful Life, you are an OG. OGs know who you are. Everyone is important. Hey, Amanda. All right. I love that logo, Amanda. You know that. Janet in the house. Hey, hey. Whoop, whoop. Jody, welcome in the house. Mary, hey. Come on in, you little nesters. Come on, Mary. Jill, hey, everyone. Let's go. All right, Amanda. You know, I love it when Birdie asks where you're tuning in from. I usually don't ask, but we've got Tina in the UK. Whoop, whoop. Welcome in. Hey, Becca, welcome in. And good evening, everyone. Ray, you must be far away. I hope you're doing very well. Amanda, don't forget to leave some DNA on that button. More than Koberger did, y'all. A lot more. Hey, Phoenix. Hey, hey. All right. Holy smokes in the house. Jerry, welcome in. Beautiful Life, welcome in. Lays, you're an angel. Ellen P, welcome in. You made it to your live. I hope this is your first. Good evening, Phoenix. Just caught you live. Marley, I love your picture. That is sweet. Ray, welcome in. Welcome in. God, who invites their haters? Welcome in all my haters, all you looky lures. Hey, Nellie, welcome in number 16. And we're going to have a good show for you. Seems like most creators I'm sub to have bailed. Well, I don't know why they're bailing. You know, you got to show up and do the work. I'm going to give you the truth, girls, guys, nesters. Those bad boys downloaded and ready to go. Absolutely. And I'm so sorry. Starlink had a wide outage. And earlier when I was live, it just freaking cut out on me. A lot of people said, can't hear ya. Yeah, you can't hear me. I wasn't even on the internet because of that. So do me a favor. Hit that like button. And yeah, it sure did, Peggy. I've got some words on that. I won't even talk about what happened in court yet. Yes, I'll be on with Bertie later on. Nick, any one of us could represent Brian after those documents to get him to release. Yep, people are brain dead. They are tried by media. Thank you for opening your eyes and mind. I always have been. I think that's probably um, a God-given talent, but some people question that. I've been missing you all day. Morning was boring without you guys. We are back on tonight after some good needed rest. They don't care about solving, just somebody to take the fall. Unfortunately, many PDs do, and I believe in this case we've seen that. No blood on. Nope, nope, nope. But there was sure blood everywhere else. I'll tell you right. He possibly trusted the wrong people. A shit show. Yeah, totally. All right. So Nick on point as usual. He always is. He seems to be one of the good guys. Already in the works, guys. They are watching. They know there are some petitions that are going around. And as Steve G did say, there and if you've been watching my TikTok videos, I'm tagging the DOJ and the most important ones. But there is something in the works to kind of help him get that. It's sad. Everyone on either side says dialogues like they're disrespectful. Yeah, you know what? I'm in the middle because you have to care about both sides, and you have to understand that you know Brian is a victim of all this too. He surely is. And if there's more they're not telling us, they need to tell us to make us believe that he is. Because the prosecution has said, no, he can't be the guy. And right in front of our faces. And some of you are so blind. I'm not saying you guys here in the Hive, but some of the people out there, they're just so blind. And they don't want to hear it. And then there's some trolls. Shout out to Tina. Thank you, honey. Thank you for all you do. Love your show. Thank you. Washington's in the house, by the way, Lisa says. I appreciate you, Tina. Those little tiny seeds of love and digital dollars help keep this going. I'm following you on YouTube and TikTok now. Thanks, C-Babs. I appreciate you for sure. Hey, Phoenix, watching from Scotland. That's our first Scotland and down under in Australia. You know, that's on my mom's bucket list. Thank you. Okay, so wait, what was that? What Starlink is very unreliable. Now where I am, I usually don't have a problem. I haven't had an outage in over a year. So I think it was a worldwide outage they just repaired. I got a service notice that said it was a serious outage. So yeah, I'm not forgetting you guys. I see your comments. I'm not skipping over you, just so you know. I want to be able to do this and then jump off and get right over to Birdie. Yeah, psyops are designed to divide. I totally agree. And this is what I'm going to do. This live is scheduled as Phoenix Live Overview, Moscow Police Reports in the Koberger case. So let's do this. Let's start now, and let's get into it. Because I don't know how many of you have read these reports. Shannon, you are a angel. Thank you. Like this. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Who was Papa Rogers? They have not announced who Papa Rogers was. However, it is not BK. And I did get a notice last night that BK was moved, as you guys all know probably already. He was moved. And he was moved at about 6 o'clock last night out of Ada County Jail, for those of you who care. And for those of you who don't, then you don't need to worry about it. So let's do this. So I have a video up that's 1 through 7 of the actual reports. They go in sequential order. They are listed as they come in and the dates. I've made some really overview highlight videos of the most important things. I've not cherry picked anything. I have just basically said word for word what those documents are and what I believe. And I believe I connected. And I noticed something last night that didn't sit well with me. I FOIA'd a request in regards to a specific case number within Moscow Police Department. Let's see if they honor that request. Because in one of these documents, I made a video on it, and it is 210 Evidence number 733 was pulled from a locker of a case that was in 2023 of a KBAR. And that KBAR was taken to Spokane, Washington, where the doctor did the autopsies. I got cut off earlier with Starlink. And I wanted to start with this one because this seems to be the most powerful one, other than the interview with the individual at Queen Road, where they found 94 drops of blood on the shower curtain, and this person disappeared for a week or so. And the police wanted to know who could have accessed their apartment. He lived alone. Didn't say anything. So, with that being said, this knife was located in the evidence locker. They check it out. Go to Spokane. Yeah, the doctor says pretty much that could possibly have been the exact kind of knife that was used, but it was never tested, thrown back into evidence, never looked at again. And you're going to see, if you read these reports, it's going to make your stomach curdle. Because all the reports that could have exonerated him that came in, all the tips, all the leads, all the knives they found, and all the investigation, it didn't seem like there was an investigation. But let me tell you how they found Bryan Kohberger. They requested in a warrant, specifically a Google warrant, and they asked for certain parameters to be located in regards to, like you and I would use a hashtag. And what do you know? On December 19th, 2022, Kohberger officially became a suspect because of a search. Can you believe that shit? He did a search. He wanted to know what happened at 1122 King Road. He wanted to see if he could figure out what happened over there. The individual that was never around there, never knew these individuals, never stalked them, never confessed, ever. Ever. But yet they went after him, and they fit the narrative to fit his freaking car. Oh, I'm getting fired up here, guys. Sorry. They went after him with tunnel vision to feed the narrative. That's why they had to freaking get his DNA to put him there. And if you aren't mad, they could do this to any one of us to make it work their narrative rather than have egg on their face. See, here's the problem. And this is my humble opinion, this is no view of my viewers, my followers, my watchers, my nest. They went after somebody digitally and had to make it work, and it didn't work physically. And this is terrible. This is terrible for our country, terrible, awful, shoddy, shitty police work, and freaking tunnel vision. Now, I don't know what Bryan Kohberger did to piss some people off in the area because he was an outsider. Do you ever remember that movie Outsider? Remember when they go and they fight with Bunny Boy and over the girl and all this stuff? I don't know what he could have done to piss somebody off, but I'm sure with his autism, his awkward social issues, and his mannerisms that they just berated him on TV for and in the media and in the news. I can only imagine what they did to him. You saw what they did in court. Pissed me off. Anyways, let's get to it. So I'm going to give you an overview. 1 through 7 is on the Moscow police reports. The second one got interrupted when I was on a tangent anyways, but narrative number 8, I've got a few pulled up that we can review. Narrative number 8 talks about the drugs and the $2 bill that was at 1122 Road. Was this a possible overdose? Was it a possible overdose? You know, there were some theories floating out there. It possibly could have been an accident, and then they made it not look like an accident because of the drugs that were moving through that area. Now, the Moscow Police Department, they don't want to talk about it. FBI don't want to talk about it, but it's all on their website, and they share that information with us. All over the DOJ about the pipeline, all over Moscow police reports. It's out there. It's public knowledge. They just won't talk about it. They don't want you to know, but it's out there. If you search, you will find. Number 7, it's hogwash. I'm sorry, number 9 is hogwash. Number 10, it talks about the 3 individuals and the radio history. I went into that a little bit on the last one that I got cut off. Go listen to that, because those are the 2 individuals, those 2 police that we see on Banfield, that Banfield, as in the University of Idaho, Banfield, the grassy area where a lot of these frats hang out. On 10, it shows basically the history, how convenient one cop forgot, and then he reviews the radio history, something that is you can't get out of. Okay, and that seems to be hidden from us, because I wonder if those 2 cops were aware of what happened, and one of them quit all of a sudden. You can only guess who that was, guys. And on number 11, it talks about JS again. Yes, JS. We all know who JS. I have a little legend if you guys don't know who these initials are. I've already broken it down. JS is allegedly Jack Showalter. 12, it talks about second floor at the Whites, and there's some photos of someone at the dumpster. 13 is the Grub Truck Bar video of JS, Jack Showalter again, and JD presents himself at the Grub Truck. And then they talk about Hayden and Joe, which we already know those names at the Grub Truck. Narrative 14 gets a little interesting, because then they talk about a couple of different reports, and then it mentions again and these are 3 or 4 different officers reporting. They mention the same drugs and the $2 bill on the dresser. So obviously, when they say it was a drug house, was it a drug house, or was it those using drugs? I believe it's the latter, those using drugs, but they were known to know where to get them. And some of these reports mention initials selling cocaine in that area. I'll get to that in a minute. Number 15 is very unusual, because you remember the character Matthew Moye, he was unlocked. So this guy says he wakes up at 2:30 a.m., leaves at 3 a.m., but he's also the one later on that a tip, and I'm jumping to the good stuff, just so you know. So somebody with MM calls KBAR, which is owned by Cutco, and that is a conversation that the employee remembered, calls into the police station to give them the information. And when I say I read through these, I don't just read through something. I put the puzzle together. I just want you to understand that. So when you're like, what is she talking about? I'm putting the puzzle together in this overview, so you don't have to figure it out. If you want to go read the documents, you can go to Moscow Police Department. They have a special section under specific Brian Koberger, and they have a place where you can download them. But I heard a lot of people are having problems downloading them. So anyways, in this narrative, let me get my number. Hold on. Matthew Murray. No, that's the gloves. Hold on. Okay, Cutco Court, 56. In this supplemental history report, number 56, actually, so 56, Cutco Corp has a list of KBAR knives that are bought all around the area a little before and after the actual unalivings, the murders. And then you go to cross-reference the next one, and that is supplement bar warrant. Give me 1 second. And that's Fry's interview. Hold on. Cinematic College. BJ 1232. Let me just read 72 for you. So in this supplement report 72, now I'm tying it all together so you guys see this. In supplement 72, I'm going to start at the beginning so you guys have it. So KBAR 157, this is the interview of BJ. BJ is the individual at Cutco, which is where they make the KBAR knives. And Brett Payne is speaking to them. And this happened on 12/2/22. The FBI tip line received a call from KBAR employee MD in reference to DM, a DM. Okay. M had been contacted earlier on 12/1/22 by ISP Boone and Barrett due to his name being provided by KBAR on a list of people who had placed orders from KBAR. D stated on a call taker, BJ from KBAR received a strange phone call from M on 12/1/22. J provided a written statement about what the conversation entailed. J, this is the employee of Cutco, KBAR, she answered the call with a normal greeting directed by KBAR. M interjected when she asked about his concerns. So M is a guy, okay? DM is I suppose it's a guy, because she is the employee. And this is redacted, so we're trying to figure out where to place certain things. M interjected when she asked about his concerns about the call and stated, "We'll get to that later." J went on to tell M why the order was canceled. M stated he understood and never put his phone number on orders to prevent phone solicitation. Now, either that is a red flag or that's a red flag. Didn't want his phone number on any orders. M then abruptly asked, "What can you tell me about the 2 feds that showed at my door today questioning my recent KBAR order?" What? J stated she didn't know what M was talking about and she had no knowledge of any investigation. M then stated something to the effect of, a KBAR sheath was left at the scene. J stated she didn't know anything about the situation and asked M if he wanted to complete his order. M stated he was a collector and had enough for now. He also added he better hold off until things die down a little. M then ended the phone call. I spoke with Detective Boone and Barrett on 12/2/22 and asked him if they mentioned the knife sheath. Both detectives stated they did not mention anything about any sheath in any conversation with M. Was very routine. They did not record their conversation. I called Jay back, which is the employee at the company at KBAR, on 12/13 and asked her to tell me about the call with M. Jay reiterated the contents of her statement. She said M told her a KBAR sheath was left at the scene and added M told investigation to M continued. What the freakity frick is going on in Moscow? This was 12/13. Who could MD possibly be? I'm going to do a little bit of a check here with you guys. Who is MD? Any idea? I do have an email address, Kim. It's in my bio. It's Phoenix Investigates at proton.me. Okay. Did you guys get that? No leaks were given about the sheath on this day. No, nothing. How did somebody know that is a collector that this company calls and says, what about the 2 feds that showed up at my door today? Cancel my order. I better lay low. What in the heck was that about? And that person's was sorry, let me get the initials one more time. Yep. Okay. So that was DM, and it was a male. DM. There is nothing else on this supplement 72 report that says who this individual could be. But did they investigate further? No. And let me tell you why they didn't. Because they did a warrant for Koberger. I'm sorry, they did a warrant to see who searched on Google any of the murders. On December 19th, it came back. And Brian Koberger was a name that came back that searched the unalivings. And that is what got him in this mess. Blew my freaking mind. So that was Matthew Moyer, supplement 15, that I went down that rabbit hole and connected all these documents together. So, who is DM? Are they a relative of Moyer who lives behind 1122 King Road? Because there is somebody that called in with a hot tip on the line that basically said somebody behind them could possibly be the person you're looking for. The answers are in these documents, guys. Little odd, don't you think? And 15 is also the hand with the broken glass. Isn't it odd that they were trying to cut chicken with a pocket knife? That's what the report said. Did anybody really investigate that? Did they pull their medical records to see how bad the cuts were? Did they even get DNA? Did they interview this individual? I mean, it was, after all, JD. 16. CB is Cole Beringberg. We see that in the documents, in the court documents. And what happened? Well, something happened that night. He was at the bar. He got kicked out of the bar and later saw Maddie at the grub truck and hugged her. And that's how his DNA got under her fingernails. So obviously he was a suspect and his DNA didn't match per the court documents. But the other 3 DNA, they're still not sure about. Still not sure about. And basically, in the 16 supplement, it says that somebody who lived in Conestoga, Idaho, they put it on the MPD reports that he lived there for 2 years. So they already knew who Cole Beringberg was, and they took his DNA and it didn't match. And then report supplement 17 says Sigma Chi. They're not sure because the president of Sigma Chi they went to talk to, and he knew that Hunter and Xana may be using cocaine, guys. We already kind of had an idea that there was a rug portion to this. So I'm going to jump to 18 because Fry does a little scene. He goes through and takes a look, and Chief Dallinger, he's the chief of police now, they go and they look around. 19, they interview uh, something about somebody who sells cokes for the girls in the area. And then 19 talks about Kaylee dated some guy, obviously Jack Decor. Quinn Kelly enters the scene. We all know who that is. They talked a little bit about Ray Lee. Somebody with the initials of MB. I'm still trying to figure that initial out. I figured out all the others. And he was the VP of the frat. I'm sure I've got a picture of him. They talk about Emily Arndt a little bit. And supplement 20 is the guy who's walking his dog and realizes, hey, the door at 1122 King Road was open when he went to go walk his dog, came back, and it was still open after an hour, which was a little odd. Why would Bethany and Dylan leave the door open? Why would anybody leave the front door open, guys? This is the front door. And then supplement 21, Olivia appears, and she is helping the police department with the files and the phones. But later on in a supplement, in the end, all the parents were asked if they knew anything about the pins on their phones so the police could unlock it quickly and try to figure out this crime. And guess whose parents gave them a pin that didn't work on the phones? I made a video about that. I said, guess who, guys? Can you make a lucky guess? Yeah. The only one that wouldn't work and unlock was Kaylee Gonzalez's phone. Don't you think that a little strange? So they had to go down all these warrant lists and slow down the case, and they did a warrant on 153 and it was listed. Most of these warrants were for Kaylee. The warrant goes down, and is that the parallel investigation that Steve G may have been talking about? Perhaps. Don't know. Alleged. But a warrant number 153 for Google specifically asked for accounts named King Girls with an S and King Girls with a Z, and all of her accounts. Wow. Wow. Yep. Jax is the one. And they even say he's out of town. When they call him to ask him who had access to your apartment, he lives alone. No one had access to his apartment, guys. Anyways, that's something that I put together too. I connected those. And then now we know, was there a parallel investigation? Perhaps. Perhaps. And all because on December 19th, 2022, BK searched about the Idaho unalivings. He was identified that day by Brett Payne as a suspect. You bet. Walla Walla, Washington means something in this case too, guys. So remind me, I'll get back to that. Then we go on to supplement 22. There is a surveillance camera at the dumpster. Don't know why it would be of importance, but we all know that there was a guy looking through the dumpster. 23 is LM. Okay, guys, you got to help me out. I can only remember so much. M is listed a lot on the 1122 King Road. It says they used to live there. Who is LM? Do you guys know LM? L is in Larry, M is in Mary. LM. Now, this individual pops up a lot. Yeah, Papa Rogers popped up in our live last night with Birdie. Yeah, just messing with people still. Now, LM. Could be Lauren. I was thinking it was a guy. Did a guy used to live at 1122 King? I'm going to still go through my notes and find out LM. So, they basically emailed Facebook and they got a search warrant. 24 talks about Grubhub, truck, the Grub truck, and not much else. 25 SB. There is an SB. I don't know who SB is. Not really interesting, by the way. If I didn't put a lot of detail by it, it was just some warrant or something. 26 is the warrant to see if EG was on or off duty. Eric Gower was off duty, guys, when he went and picked up the girls. Per Uber. He was off duty. Off duty. 27 is about the warrant with the iPads and the desktop, and they went and picked up all that stuff for examination. 28 was the vehicle exhaust that can be heard driving around 1122 King Road and in between Queen Road. It was a black vehicle, and the officers stated they heard the exhaust. It was loud. Loud. So whoever was over there had a loud vehicle. Can you believe that crap? 29, videos, storage, etc. There was a bunch of, they got some videos. And you know what? I thought this was so smart of Ann Taylor. Y'all, do you know what she did? Now, I was looking at the court documents in relation to the redacted or sealed information and looking at the dates and coordinating this to the police reports. Ann Taylor, this is a little nugget bonus for you guys listening in. Ann Taylor requested that the police department in Moscow on certain days send them the lobby video to see what witnesses came into that police department. How freaking smart is that? Did you guys get this? The defense requested Moscow's police department lobby video surveillance when they started interviewing witnesses to see if they were interviewing witnesses. That's like third-party oversight. That's like making sure they were doing their job and to get whoever they were interviewing as witnesses. Freaking genius. Either she did it or somebody else recommended it, but that was genius. And if you go back and line up the redacted files that are hidden from us in the court docket, the repository, some of these reports line up. Now, 30 is the PC enters the sorority. Now, whoever PC is a girl, and they interviewed them. They said there was a party at the Whites, and there was a creepy guy on the grub truck. So PC knows maybe what's going on. Yeah, they mentioned JS, the hoodie guy, hoodie guy, hoodie guy. Everyone kept saying it's the hoodie guy. 31 was the cell phone collecting. 32, this was really hard for me. I don't know if you guys read these documents. Supplement 32 I made a video about last night. This was really hard. Supplement 32 basically gives the report about Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee's injuries. My heart sank for these parents. 32 was not easy read. And I'm not like some of these creators out there just sharing and pouring this shit on the internet and all the gore and detail, which is pissing me off. No respect for these victims because they want the clicks, likes, and views. I'm not going to sit here and read you every bloody, gory detail. But what I will tell you, in my humble opinion, sadly, Xana had to be the target, which ties back to the fact that her mom and her friend were arrested right before these unalivings occurred. High level overview, putting the pieces together. Kaylee was stabbed 20 times. And I don't know if these parents have seen these reports or read through them or even want to know. But if I was on national TV, news media outlets, I'd want to get it right. Because it doesn't matter in my heart if it was 30 or 40 or 50. I'd want people to understand no matter the number, it's still an injury. And shame on you for all your creators that are out there filling these freaking videos with all the gory details. Shame on you. Have some moral compass there. I won't go over the other wounds, but there is another statement that lines up to even wounds his legs. So not only is it 32, but it is, hold on a minute, let me grab it. It ties into another police officer's. Hold on, I lost my train of thought because I was pissed off at some of these people and what they're doing. It lines up later on with, I think it's, hold on one second. I think it's 164, so it's farther a little bit ahead. So now we go to 33. The University of Idaho data cameras were requested. And, you know, I just want to say something real quick before I move on to 33. 32 was the autopsies, okay? There was a lot of things done in regards to making sure they had the accurate data in this. There's some redacted, and there's some serious injuries. I mean, Maddie had 2 or 3 injuries. I know it's not like I said, how many you have is one was enough because she had fatal injuries. It was hopefully quick for her. And Ethan, he had a couple of fatal. That was it. The hatred, it seemed like it was at Xana and Kaylee. Clearly. They had the most amount of wounds. And of course, Kaylee's face, which her dad has already explained. So, you know, I think we should just take a moment and just a 30-second moment of silence for these 4. No matter how or why, I don't think they deserve this. All right. So rest in peace. And as a parent, I couldn't even imagine. 33, the U of I data cameras, they were requested. 34, it looks like it was something to do with the coroner. 35, they found a tip where somebody by the name of C, they don't give a last name, they don't give a full name, they were known to sell cocaine in the area. They contacted the FBI, they contacted OCDTEF, they contacted Quad City Drug Force and Task. No one knows who the guy of C is. Okay? No idea. 36 was a USB that was downloaded from the university. And I'm not sure, but there's another report in here on somebody's mother or something to the fact that some student that was sexually assaulted at the U of I in 2021. I don't know if it had any relationship to this case. 37 were some thumb drives that they sent out to figure out what was on them. And remember, most of the evidence that was logged in and they asked for thumb drives, USBs, all these other things, they're not available to the public. These are just narrative reports, not the actual evidence, okay? Because if Koberger appeals in the next 42 days, then they will need to preserve all this evidence for a trial, perhaps. 38, nothing worth noting. 39 is an eBay KBAR warrant to see if anybody bought a KBAR off of eBay. 40 is the camera motions at Walmart. And basically, I lined this up to the court documents that looked like they were asking for supplemental evidence from the prosecution about Koberger shopping at Walmart. That he was in the area and he was shopping at Walmart and they observed what he bought and it was nothing of evidentiary value, guys. That's what blew my mind on 40. I've got a big star next to it, a big check. Nothing he bought was even suspicious. Nothing. It says on this report, nothing of evidentiary value. Blew my mind. He bought a beanie, a little head beanie, and that was it. And a lot of groceries. 41 is Jack DeCur's phone. So 41 is that they ask Jack for his phone, and what they do is they swab his phone for fingerprints, and they get DNA, and then they download his phone. Now, I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat, but I am trying to do 4 things at once. Okay. So 42, Dylan interview. That was interesting. I almost thought of that song. That was rude, right? That was rude. 42 gets interesting. I don't know if you've seen the videos that are going around. I don't know if you know, but her statement changed quite a bit. And they've interviewed her a couple of times in these narratives. And 42 goes on to state, I'll just read a little bit that I found interesting. Not only does it contradict what we thought we heard in the news and on social media, but it doesn't even make it seem as bad as people made it seem, guys. And like I said, I'm going to give you both the truth. You may not like it, but I'm going to give it to you. I mean, Dylan may not be all that bad of a person as people have put her down and made fun of her. So initial interviews, Detective Mowery, sits down and wants to talk about the 1122 incident. On 11/13/22, DM was interviewed in regards to the homicide investigation. This is supplement number 42, where the incident occurred. She said she was a resident. D said she was a blank at a party, some party, at around 10:30 on that night of 11/12/2022, where she was drinking. D said she went to blank house. D said she believes she arrived home between 12:30 and 1. D thought Bethany, B, had arrived home around 20 minutes after she arrived. So that would put Bethany home at 1:20. D said she believed that Maddie and Kaylee arrived home about 1:30 or 2. D said up to this nothing weird had happened during the night. D said she and her friend L came home, followed by Bethany from blank. That's redacted. D said L lived at the blank house and B was her roommate at that residence. D said when Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez came home from the corner club at the same time, everyone went to bed. But wasn't there something that we saw in court documents that they all said they sat around Kaylee's room? Well, let's read on. D was asked about the layout of her house. D said Kaylee's room was directly above her room. D said she lived on the second floor and Kaylee lived on the third floor. D said Kaylee and Maddie both live upstairs on the third floor, separate rooms. D said Xana lived closest to the bathroom on the second floor and B lived on the first floor. When asked about Murphy, D said it was a dog owned in common between Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, Jack DeCoeur. D said there were no apparent issues between Kaylee and Jay. D said Maddie had a boyfriend named JS, Jack, the other one, who was in Boise at the time of this incident. D indicated Xana was dating Ethan Chapin, who was in the room with her at the time of the incident. Now, how in the hell did she know that Xana was even in the room when the court document says Xana and Ethan weren't even home and they didn't know where they were located? They didn't know where to find them. That is still a huge unanswered question. How did Ethan and Xana get home? If no one saw them, were they miraculously arrived at the house carried, or were they just magically time travelers? Dee did not know of anyone who would want to hurt Ethan. She was asked. Dee was asked if she saw any cars in the area that should have not been there. Dee said, no, I was really not looking at that. Dee said she woke up about 4 a.m. where she could hear Kaylee and Murphy, the dog, dancing. Dancing. I'll just pause there for a moment because I'm fuming. Dee said she knew it was Kaylee because she recognized her voice and could hear Murphy barking. A dancing, barking dog. Imagine that. Dee said she heard Kaylee go upstairs and say, there's someone here. Dee said she thought she heard Kaylee run back down the stairs. Dee said Kaylee sounded scared when she made this statement. Dee said at this time she jumped in and locked her door because she did not know what else to do. Dee said she called out Kaylee's name and did not indicate if she got a response. Dee said she then tried to call Kaylee, Xana, and Maddie on their phones. Dee was asked if she knew if she saw anybody downstairs or heard anything. Dee said, no, I don't even know how they got in. We're just usually pretty good about locking doors and never had problems before. This was really random. That's what my 17-year-old says when he's done something wrong and he knows that I already know the answer. Oh, it was just random. Somebody drink my lemonade? Oh, it must have been random. When asked again about the series of events, Dee said she opened the door and cried out to Kaylee, then closed the door because she was scared. Dee said she then opened the door again and heard who she thought was Kaylee, but could have been Xana crying in the bathroom. Dee said she had heard a man's voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Dee said it was weird because the statement was not in a nice way, and the voice was one she has never heard before. Dee said she called out to Kaylee again, and there was no crying after, and then she didn't know what happened after that. She said she opened the door again, and the guy is right there. Dee described the male as approximately her height, 5'10". Sure doesn't sound like Koberger to me, but it sounds like the other asshole that they made a report about in Moscow, not these girls, but other girls, that the guy was standing in their room and then he was scared off. A few inches taller. Does frickin' Moscow have a serial killer, guys? Because someone likes to go around there scaring sorority girls. The male was 5'10" or a few inches taller, not skinny but athletic build. Dee said the suspect was wearing all black with mask and covered just his forehead and goes around his face. Dee showed with her hands the mask exposed his nose but covered the mouth area. Dee said she believed that the suspect was white but didn't remember eyebrow color or what his eyes looked like. Dee said when she saw the suspect, he saw her and just left. Dee said she believed he was holding something near his stomach or belt line. Dee used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen. Then she moved her hands apart and back together to simulate a bulge. Dee said this area was black in color, and she thought now maybe it was a gun. Dee said the unknown subject had an arrow shape. An arrow shape. Dee seemed really unsure and said she was tired during the event. Tired during what event, Dee? What event was happening at the time? Because you were in your room with the door locked and you were scared, and now all of a sudden you have all this contact. And didn't you make a new contact in your phone? Dee was asked how long she believed it was from the time Kaylee said someone is here to when she saw the suspect, and she thought it was about 10 or 20 minutes, not 7 minutes, guys. Dee went on to say that she was in and out of it, and she didn't fully remember the incident. Dee was asked where the suspect was at the residence when Dee saw him. She said he was between her bedroom and the kitchen, her bedroom door and the kitchen. Dee said she remembered watching the suspect go out the kitchen door and leave. Dee said at this time she closed the door and locked it fast as she could, and she said the suspect did not walk toward her or say anything. Dee said once the subject left, she immediately called Dee, and Dee said B informed her that she heard a sound that sounded like a firework. Dee then said she was told B called everyone and they weren't answering. Dee said she was in and out and believed everyone was just asleep. Dee said she went up to the room about 11 a.m. to 12 the next day and called her roommates and no one answered. Dee said she called H. H came to the residence, went upstairs, and told Dee they needed to call law enforcement immediately. Dee was asked if there was anything else she wanted to share. Dee said the noise B described sounded like a loud boom, but Dee did not hear it. Dee was asked if any of her roommates shared any weird experience in the last week's or so, any calls or texts? D said no. It's been normal. Nothing weird at all. Nothing really weird happens in Moscow usually. When asked if there was any altercations with blank's party, D said no, everything was fine and normal. D mentioned again she was with D and Xana at the party. D was asked if anyone was having sexual relations with anyone else they shouldn't be. D said no. D brought up an incident which occurred about a month prior. D said she and B remembered Kaylee saw a shadow while she was taking Murphy outside. D said Kaylee also mentioned when she was at blank 2 or 3 weeks prior, an individual was following her. D also said she arrived home one time and the door of the residence of the slider was open. D said she didn't believe that the slider door was locked the night of 11/2/22. D said she heard Murphy barking a lot around 4 a.m. and Kaylee went upstairs. D said she heard Murphy go outside barking as well. D was unsure if Murphy would chase a suspect outside. D said she did not remember if the suspect ran, left the slider door open. Now, just before, he didn't run, he left, and now he ran. Then they bring her back in for another interview, guys. Then, this is Hunter Johnson, interview 2. I'll go in order. Hunter said around 12 o'clock on 11/13, D called Emily, B's girlfriend, Hunter Johnson's girlfriend. D told E that she thought something was not right in her house. D said and told her that she saw a man running in her house the night prior. D asked E if H could come over and make sure everything was okay because she locked herself in B's room. H said he was the first person to get to the residence. H said he entered the code to the front door where B and D were in B's room on the first floor. Well, Hunter sure knew the code. D and E were telling Hunter, that they didn't know what was going on. H said he went up the stairs immediately, went into Xana's room. He said this was the only room he went into. He approached the door and it was partially open. He said when he opened it, he saw Xana and Ethan. He said he initially did not realize all the blood was dried blood in the room. H said he thought at first they had been drunk and left a mess. H said when he stood there for a moment, he began to realize what he was seeing. H said B and D were uncontrollably crying. H said and told them to get out of the house and call law enforcement. H said that when he went into the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer, he said he went to the room and checked the closet to make sure there was not anyone else in the room. H said he checked for a pulse on both Xana and Ethan. They were both in. H said both of their bodies had rigor mortis. Now, I wouldn't know just looking at a body if it was in rigor mortis, but how did Hunter know? I know that his dad is ex-military. I know that he is trained, and he actually won an award in his younger years for hunting, fishing, something to do with the junior military something. And the bodies were cold with no breath or pulse. He said he believed that the two had been deceased for a while. He's got some good training, guys. H said he believed he left the knife on the folding table in the living room. H said E, J, and L started to enter the house and come up the stairs. That must be L. Lauren? H told him to get out of the residence. H said this was about the time the Moscow police arrived on the scene. So this is already, the police arrived. That's why they told the paramedics there's no use. They're all gone. He told the officer, told him to stay where he was. H did not know if anyone else was upstairs. He had not gone anywhere else in the house. He said he had trouble comprehending what he was seeing. H said he was not at the blank party the night prior. H said that he and Ethan were texting the night prior by phone. Ethan wanted him to come over, but H chose not to. H said he knew Ethan since fall of 2021. He said he was in blank, it's redacted, and Ethan was a member of blank, redacted. He indicated J and E were in the same sorority and were roommates. H said L, who was also present, was in the fraternity. So that's not Lauren. It's got to be the guy in the fraternity, the VP of the frat. He was currently dating J. And I guess that's Josie, perhaps. I'm just Emily and Josie. The night of 11/12/2022, he was asked when was the last time that he was at King Road. He indicated he was there pre-gaming for the Vandals football game. H said he got there at the residence at about 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock and left about 2:30 to go to a different party. He said the last time Ethan was at 1122 was Friday night, 11/11/22. He didn't know if anyone had issues with Ethan and Xana dating. Xana. H estimated X and E were dating for 8 months, said he knew Xana very well through his girlfriend E. H said he was not very familiar with Maddie or Kaylee. He allowed pictures to be taken of his phone and conversations between him and Ethan. Interview 3 was Josie. She doesn't have a lot to contribute, but she confirmed that the girls did drop their sororities because they had issues with the other girls in the house. And she specifically cited girls on the executive board who tell other members what to do. And she suspected that they didn't like being told what to do, and so they left the sorority and they chose not to live in the house because of the money issues. Josie said Maddie was Bethany's big sister in the sorority house, so that caused a rift. And I'm sure that's where a lot of the information comes from, that book that was released by Patterson. So I'm going to leave it there. I know that I'm trying to do this in a chronological order so that everyone understands where we are. So this is, in fact, what am I on? Hold on one second. Because I am going to jump on over to Birdie's. He's already sent me the link. I don't want to be late. And this can get a little anonymous. This was sequence number 42. So I'm going to label this live 8 to 42. And I'll tie in as much as I can in the next live because there are some things that are very important. And there are 3 cell phones that are taken from Walla Walla PD on number 50 supplement. And I think that's very cute in its case. So I'm glad one of my favorite creators on TikTok is now finally talking about the Idaho 4 case. She was covering the Karen Reed case, which she is absolutely amazing at putting things together. And she has actually already put some things together, which, you know, it's awesome to see other people really holding together, banding together, and sharing what we find. So I want you all to know that I love you guys, every single one of you in the nest. If you want to go to Birdie Bombshells, just type in your YouTube search bar, Birdie Bombshells. He is going live, and I will see you at Birdie's. If you guys have any questions, let us know. I'll come back and I'll do a part 2 overview. I'm going to try to consolidate my other videos into one video. So y'all fly over to Birdie. Leave the nest, y'all little nesters. Fly over to Birdie, and we'll see you in a few minutes. And as always, y'all be freaking so well that the haters hate that you're well. Phoenix out.
Share
want to. This ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes.